Soon after reading about matrescence for the first time, I interviewed Alexandra Sachs. She told me that we should start by simply talking about matrescence. In some cases, this would be enough to prevent women from getting ill. She said, women would know that this ambivalence is normal and nothing to be ashamed of. They would feel less stigmatised and more normal, and it would reduce rates of postnatal depression. I have written this book in the spirit of Sachs's instruction, as an invitation to start talking about matrescence. It is a personal story, a record of what happened to me, mostly during my first experience of pregnancy, childbirth, and new motherhood, and I offer it here as a case study. I have shared the most compelling and rigorous scientific research that I encountered as I tried to make sense of what was happening to me at each stage. This is a story of my matrescence as a woman who has carried biological children within a heterosexual relationship. But, of course, not all mothers are pregnant, or give birth, or are biologically related to their children. Nor is the work of mothering an exclusively female activity. Men mother, grandparents mother, people without their own children mother. However, women still do most of the caregiving in the society I live in, especially in the early years, and I am interested in the particular cultural and social gendered expectations and pressures on female parents and women socialised as female, so I use the word mother more frequently than parent. The new research into the maternal brain and maternal mental health, much of which has only been published in the last few years, ought to change the way we think about new families and the support they need, the structure of the working world, the sorry state of investment in perinatal care. Recent evolutionary and anthropological research underlines how extraordinary and oppressive our modern-day maternal ideals are. Science tells us that the neurobiological process of parent-infant bonding and the shift into new motherhood is more diverse and interesting and wild than the bland fantasies on Mother's Day cards. Matrescence troubles the idea that we are self-contained individuals separated from the rest of the living world. With this book, I hope to begin new conversations about how becoming a mother changes a person, about what it means to metamorphose, about what we can do to recognise new mothers in their matrescence, and how we can reimagine the institution of motherhood. My hope is that this book might be a thread of mycelium that leads to other ways of thinking. Alongside my own story, I have drawn in ecological case studies, stories of change, process, and metamorphosis in the rest of the living world that help me place my experience into our wider ecological context. I have done so partly to show that natural change is not always beautiful, and that our ideas of the natural are largely invented. Matrescence has been the most ecological, biological experience of my life, and these stories were my wayfinders. Engaging with the earth, thinking with the earth, enabled me to see and think more clearly. My children have brought me joy, contentment, fulfillment, wonder and delight in staggering abundance. But that's just part of the story. This is the rest.